What is going on? What is going on, everybody? Welcome to, well, first off, it is Friday, January 21st, 2022, and we are currently live on the Rain in Real Time channel. If you would please do so, go ahead and like, comment, and share. If you are new to the channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. We have quite a few things to discuss today, quite a few things to talk about. For those of you who missed the stream last week on my original channel, I would highly suggest that you go and check that out. Shout out to Afro Elite, who I collabed with on that channel. My first collab of the year. There will definitely be more in the future. I can't wait to do that, but those will be mainly on that channel when I do go live on that channel. Let's see, who do we have in here so far? DJ Pinky, JYB, Joe Washington, DD Phoenix. I like how you changed that name. Jerome, AB Media. What's going on? What is going on? You know, we just gotta shoot the breeze for the first 10 minutes, let people roll in before I actually start to get into these topics. And it's actually a perfect time to do so because I actually have a couple of announcements that I have to make, but that's more so pertaining. It's actually a combination of this channel and my main channel. But let's see, who else do we have in here? 007 Spidey 2. What's going on? Jamal. What's going on? What is going on? I hope everybody had a good week. I know that I did. It was freezing here this week. This is probably one of the coldest weeks that we've had so far this year. But it is winter. It actually now finally feels like winter compared to December, where it was like the weather was kind of shaky. But it's been snowing. Not today or anytime this week, thank God. Let's see who else we have in here. Janessa, Tia, J Cage, what's going on? Glad to have everybody here, or as many people so far in attendance. I'm sure that once I start to get into the topics, then more people are going to start rolling on in. What's going on, Ashen? It says currently 20 degrees in New York. That's about the same that it is here. Like here, it was like 19 degrees here today. So it's really cold. It's really cold outside. If anything was to fall out of that sky, it would definitely stick to the ground for sure. On contact. What's going on? What's going on, Gnome King? Yes, DJ. Like DJ said, make sure to hit that like button and share this. excuse me, this stream as well. Y'all, I don't know about y'all, but it was this one video that I saw on social media this week. I actually saw it today, but this person was in a different location that annoyed the hell out of me. And I don't know if y'all seen it. I've only seen it on Twitter. And it's this big black dude. He's like this big. He kind of reminds me of a Terry Crews with locks. And he goes around to these different restaurants. I'm not sure what state he's in, but he's going to these different restaurants, and he'll take one bite of food, and then all of a sudden start doing the jig. I'm like, is this guy on tour? Those of you who follow me on Twitter, or those of you who are on Twitter, know exactly what I'm talking about. Joseph Washington, he said the Grooving Gorilla. I didn't know he had a nickname, but that's the perfect name to call him. That's the perfect description of him. No, he said it's ice storm and freezing rain all over the southeast North Carolina and northeast South Carolina. Well, I can believe that. I remember when the first time I saw snowfall when I used to be in South Carolina when I was in school, it kind of caught me by surprise. But now it doesn't surprise me so much anymore because it's now happening so frequently. But yeah, like that video, the videos, because it's more than one, annoys me. It's not a one-off thing that we just see one time, but it's multiple videos popping up. DJ said they posted them up in the Discord. Twin Sister and Black Ridge were going there. Okay. Yeah, sometimes I might not catch everything that gets posted in Discord because the Discord is so active. And by the way, I did post a link to my Discord on my community tab. So if anyone who is new needed to join the Discord, I put it up there, but I also put a disclaimer up there. I said no trolls allowed, and we'll know if a troll pops up in there. It's not, they popped up before, but not so frequently. I think they popped up maybe once or twice, but we got them out of there. But that was a while ago. This is probably around the time when I first created the Discord. Joseph said, I feel sorry for the chicken and waffles in the video. Yeah. That was the most recent one I saw. That was the most recent one that I saw. He took a bite of that chicken that had some syrup on it and just started dancing. Like, the first one I saw was with him in the In-N-Out. So if you know what, now I said with the In-N-Out, that means he got to be on the West Coast, because In-N-Out is a place that's only on the West Coast. The furthest out from West that In-N-Out is located is Texas. So he's from either Texas or somewhere further west, just because I remember the In-N-Out video. So that's where he has to be at. That has to be his location. Okay, before I actually get started, because it's 5:05, I want to actually do these announcements before I forget. The first announcement is, and I know some of you will probably be happy about this, I actually announced this on my Twitter, but it was just me in consideration of if I was going to do it or not. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to go back to doing the Saturday commentaries, and just 3 videos a day, just like I've been doing before. The reason for that is because I have so many commentaries, and if I lose a day or if I skip a day, that literally pushes a lot of stuff back. Like, y'all may not understand how much it is pushing back 3 commentaries, especially when you're doing 3 a day. So I'm going to go back to doing the Saturday commentaries of 3 on a day. So basically, you'll be getting commentaries from me. Excuse me. Y'all got to excuse me. I just ate. Y'all will be getting commentaries from me every 7 days a week again, starting back up tomorrow. So I know y'all will be happy about that. And I will still post the I might actually incorporate the motivational like short video, which is like probably like a little workout clip of me, which I know that y'all like. Those videos get a lot of reception, and I'm glad that they're giving some inspiration to people as well. I'll incorporate that in there somewhere as well. That'll most likely be one of the videos that's up there. It's just a short video, it's like a minute or so long, and the other 2 will be full length. The next announcement is, and this is actually something that I talked about a while back, and I had actually asked y'all this. I said, do y'all think that I should do more trending topic style videos? Basically something that is big and trending in the world, and have it latch onto the algorithm. And at first, like, some people saying just do you, but the thing is, I always like to incorporate y'all into whatever it is that I do, because y'all are the lifeline behind my channel. So I figure, let me put it out there for you to have your part in it as well, because y'all definitely keep my channel going. So when I say like big, like trending topics, anything like that, I'm gonna give y'all 2 of them in this live stream today that could have been an example of what I'm talking about. That could have been a pre-recorded video, and instead of putting it in this live stream, it's actually gonna be the first 2 stories I talk about. But they're gonna be related back to what I always usually talk about, and you'll see what I mean. And then what I'll do is I'll save the more smaller stories, like some of the stories I'm gonna talk about in here will be for the live streams, like a local story, if that makes sense. If I look down, it's just I'm looking at my Apple Watch, like I get notifications and stuff like that. So I think that's what the direction I'm gonna start doing that. Also because when it comes to stories like those, you want to have those pushed out there at least the same week, if you don't get them out within a day or 2 after the story comes up. Because some stories, like, I get so overloaded with them that it pushes the commentaries back a whole week, and by that time the moment is gone. And once you miss that train ride, it's gone, then no one really cares anymore. That's just the society we live in. So I think that's what I'm gonna start doing. But I'll give you an example of that with the first story that I talk about. Now, see that video that I did about Lawrence Smith Fields, that was a big story. That's still considered a big story because there's a lot of mystery behind it. That's why when I did that video gained so much traction, and I kind of knew that it would. And see, I got onto that within a day or two after the first, within the story coming out within those first couple of days. That's why it latched on and the views shot up the way that they did, and I knew that was going to happen. It's like all a game. You got to just know how the algorithm works. Vulcan said, if it helps with your algorithm, I say go with the trending stories. Okay. Yeah, that's most likely what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to still push out the commentaries that I currently have right now. But if it's a big story that comes up, I will push that in front of those other ones and still push those out, because the other ones that I have coming out are like the bed bucking stories and the McLaren ones. Those will still be put out there because that's a series of videos that I'm doing specifically for that channel. So those will still be put on that channel because those are really, like, to me, those are like opinion pieces. Those aren't news stories. Those are just opinion pieces or me reacting to something that they have said. So those will stay on that channel. But when I say small stories, I'm talking about local stories that may not get that big, or they might stay in the news for a little bit and then they'll be gone tomorrow. So here today, gone tomorrow type of story. When it's talking about maybe a celebrity that's done something and we can talk about it, like how I'm gonna talk about these first two, you'll see that's what I mean. But it is now currently 5:11. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing started, and I'll give you an example of what I mean with this first story. So this is an example of what I would say is a big story, because one is dealing with a person who's a celebrity, they're black, and is dealing with a big movie that's coming out, and is dealing with you know what. And it's also a topic I've talked about on my main channel before. And ironically, the last time I talked about Letitia Wright on my main channel, that video got a lot of views on it. But I am talking about it on my smaller channel. So if y'all have not heard, Letitia Wright has now returned to the set of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. It is such, like I told y'all, it's such a dark cloud over this movie. It's not even funny. Like, I'm actually legit scared to see what the results of this movie and the turnout of this movie is, especially since, you know, everyone was really hyped about the first one and the first one was so successful. But of course, she's back. She, of course, made a lot of controversy when she said what she said about the Thing. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say the Thing. And she is now back in the States to finish up her part, because the thing is, they couldn't finish this movie without her. She's a main character. So I think she was overseas and she's back here now to finish shooting her scenes. There's only so much shooting around that they can actually do. So she is back in the States to finish off this movie. And the movie, as far as we know, is still slated to come out at the end of the year, because originally it was supposed to come out July 8th, but they pushed it back to November. So it's still, as far as we know, still has that November release date. But we'll see. Spidey said at this point they should have just recast T'Challa, to be honest, and I'm very worried about this movie. You know what's so crazy? In the beginning, I had said no, I don't think they should. I was agreeing with Kevin Feige saying they should not have recast T'Challa, but now looking in hindsight, I agree that they should, because that character has so much story, or so many stories, that hasn't even been touched on. And a lot of people, including myself, want to see the relationship between him and Storm, which we all know they get married in the comics. And that would be a good way to usher in the X-Men. But without his character, it won't work. So I definitely think that they should recast him. At this point, they should. But I wonder how that's going to work now, because the movie's already been shooting. They've already started filming. They've been filming since since the summer. But I mean, we'll see. Like I said, it's like you said, you're scared for this movie. I'm nervous for it too. I am. I mean, yeah, it's very unfortunate what happened to Chadwick Boseman, but I think in the moment we didn't want it to happen because I think that was our way of grieving, and we didn't want to see anyone else play that part. But now, looking at it from a business standpoint, it's only right that they just recast him. And it's not like it's going to diminish any performance that Chadwick Boseman had while he played the character, because we're always going to hold him in high regard for playing that part and being the first one to play it. But like they say, the show must go on. Smoke Inc. said, "You see, they had no idea Black Panther was going to be so successful, and that scared a lot of people, especially a lot of racists on social media." Yeah, I remember when they kept trying to say that Black Panther was overrated, and it came mainly from the same type of people over and over again. I said these damn echo chambers are something else. I said y'all are the only ones that really feel that way. There was some people that felt that, who were Black, who felt it was overrated, and it is what it is. But when I saw it came from the usual suspects, I already knew what that was about. But yeah, that's the current news with her, that she returned, and she's, I guess, filming her scenes, the remainder of her scenes, right now as we speak. Now let's move on to the next story. Now this story that I'm talking about right here, if y'all watch Professor Black Truth, which I'm sure the most of you in here are already subscribed to his channel, at least I hope you are, and if you aren't, why aren't you? And that is Aquafina. This is another story right here where I said that this could have been a trending story that could have ended up on my main channel, and I can relate it back to what I talk about and whatnot. But that's, like I said, that's what I'm gonna start doing. But I'm gonna mention it on here because I know I can't squeeze it in on my main channel, so we're talking about it over here. And that is Asian actress Aquafina receiving a NAACP Image Award nomination for some voiceover work that she has done. I didn't even know she was doing voiceover work, but I didn't care. And Black people went in on her and the NAACP for nominating her for an award, considering the nature of this woman and her doing that Black accent. And then when they asked her about the Black accent, she tried to make it seem like she wasn't doing a Black accent. That's how she always talks. I highly, highly doubt that. But let's keep it real. The NAACP is the same organization that let a white woman run a chapter out of Spokane, Washington by the name of Rachel Dolezal while pretending to be a Black woman. In her mind, she said she was Black, knowing good and damn well she was PC. This is the same organization that gave Donald Sterling, racist ass Donald Sterling, and was going to give him some kind of special award at an Image Awards ceremony one year. If it wasn't for his mistress or whoever that woman was exposing him, they would have gave a whole racist an award, someone who does not like Black people. And like DJ said in the chat, the NAACP wasn't even founded by Black people. It wasn't. That whole founding board of the NAACP are all PC people. So this should surprise no one. But I have known that when it comes to the Image Awards, that they have nominated non-Black people in the past. It's just that they never win, but they nominate them. Now, what's interesting is, uh, in the category that she's in, she's the only non-Black person in that category. Everybody else who's in the same category as her is Black. Even Letitia Wright, which I didn't know she did voiceover work either. But she's the only non-Black person in that category. And like Professor Black Truth said he doesn't necessarily have a problem with them nominating her, but if you have some Asian driven award shows, are they going to nominate any black people? Oh, I looked at that. I said, oh, that's easy. Hell no. They're not going to nominate not one black person. I have yet to see it. I remember when at one of those country music awards, and I said this last week on my live stream collaboration with Jay, with Afro Elite. I said when Beyonce performed at one of those country music awards with the Dixie Chicks, while their ratings went high, you had a lot of people who loved the country genre of music that was upset that she performed. Like, why is she there? She doesn't do country music. She does R&B. But she had a country song, and she brought ratings to your rather dry, dull, and seasonless show for the little bit of time that she was on that stage. And then the cherry on top was having the Dixie Chicks, I keep calling them chips, the Dixie Chicks up there, considering their controversial past and with the stuff they said about George W. Bush. Janessa said, did Gloria Allred win awards as well? For what? What would they nominate Gloria Allred for? Tuh. So yeah, you can tell a lot about an organization by the people that they nominate. But yeah, Aquafina is a culture vulture. It is what it is. I don't care what people say or people who are fans of her, but the thing is, she has a base. She appeals to a lot of youth. She appeals to a lot of young people. When I say young, I'm talking about those who are in their teens. That's mainly who her audience is, and of course those in the Asian community. DJ said the black guy from Hootie and the Blowfish used to get racist hate mail and death threats for doing country music. Imagine that, a genre of music that black people created, they get hate for because they're not the majority in that genre. Go figure. And I actually have a video coming up on my channel about those races in China who was attacking those, who was verbally taunting those black basketball players over there. I have a whole video coming about that. I said that's not a story I would put on this channel. I said that's got to be on the main channel for sure, but that's coming now. If y'all see any trolls in here, please remove them. If you have a wrench, if you are a mod on this channel, please remove the trolls. And you'll know what the trolls look like. That Decker Levy was a troll, and it looks like, says their message deleted, so it looks like somebody got him up out there. But yeah, they nominated her. Now the next question is, will she win? If she wins, if she wins, hey, it is what it is. But let's move on to the next story. I got a question for those in the chat. How many of you have student loan debt? Just put a 1. How many of you have student loan debt? I have a feeling I'm going to be seeing quite a few ones getting thrown up in here. I'm just curious. How many people in this chat have student loan debt? Black Voltron, I'm gonna have to I didn't switch the account. I'm actually still on my Torian Rain Reloaded chat, so I can't actually give you the wrench until I switch over to my Rain in Real Time thing. But I'll try to keep that in mind the next time I go live on this channel, which will be, of course, 2 weeks from now. Okay, so I'm seeing a few ones in here. Okay. So, in case y'all have not heard, Navient, who used to be Sally Mae, says they are agreeing to canceling over $1.7 billion in student debt. Now, of course, a lot of people are going to question how legit this actually is. Well, I actually heard about it a couple days ago, and it looks like it's pretty legit. Basically, how you qualify is that you have had to have filed for student loans by a certain year. I know for me, I already met that requirement because I graduated in 2011, and I think the cutoff point was like 2014, if I'm not mistaken. They said that it varies by state. When I looked at the list of states, my state was on there. It was almost all 50 states. Honestly, from what I saw on that list, there was a lot of them. I wish I had that article to pull up because I don't think this article has the list of the states on here. They said they struck a deal with 39 state attorney generals to cancel student debt and pay restitution for its loan practices. Basically, they're getting them on shady loan practices, which is why they're doing this. They should have did this, honestly, because like I said before, student loan debt is the biggest form of debt in America right now. It has exceeded credit card debt, and it's the only form of debt that you cannot file bankruptcy on. DJ said, I want reparations though. Oh, don't get it twisted. I want that as well. But I also don't want any burdens either. Kill two birds with one stone. And it says consumers who are impacted by the settlement will be contacted directly by Navient. Well, I hope they contact me. Now, what's crazy is some people, when I was looking at the comment section, not on this article, but when I saw it on Instagram, people were saying how they got their loan, the person who offered the loan to them, it got switched to another company. I forgot what they called it or whatever the case may be. I said, oh, I didn't get that email saying that my stuff was switched over. Mine still says Navient. It says beginning of July 2022, Navient will cancel the balances of more than $1.7 billion in private education loans. Okay, so somebody was asking, is it private? That was Sunlight. You said that you were asking if it was private. Well, there's your answer right here. It says will cancel balances in private education loans. So yes, these are private loans. So that answers your question. It says loans forgiven under the settlement were originated between 2002 and 2010 and have already been charged off. The settlement will impact approximately 416,000 people nationwide. It says student loan debt is something that cannot be purged through bankruptcy, which I told y'all, and affects credit worthiness. And that's the other thing. Student loan debt has messed up a lot of people's credit. They said that they could get rid of any other type of debt, but that student loan debt is the one that is the worst. This is including the ability to get a home mortgage. Student loan payments were paused for all borrowers in March of 2020 through the CARES Act and will not resume until May 1st, 2022. Keep in mind, creepy Jim Crow Joe has said that they were going to reignite the payments in February. Now it has moved to May. So we've gone and jumped from February and leaped about 3 months into the future, post February into May. Shoot, it might get moved again. You never know. Janessa said loans should be paid by the federal government since it is so high, in my opinion. the government has their own debt that they can't even pay. So to think that they're going to tack on more, you can forget it. It says the company has not acknowledged wrongdoing and has promised to charge its policies and procedures for distressed borrowers and income-driven payment plans. Customer service representatives must offer income-driven plan estimates before placing borrowers into forbearance. They also must tell borrowers about other options of repayment, including the U.S. Department of Education PSLF limited waiver opportunity plan that offers forgiveness to people working in public sector jobs. So there it is right there. Tawana said you said they sent your loans to another service. Yeah, that happened to a couple of people based on the comments I read, but they didn't move mine to another service. Mine still is the same as what it once was, because I was still over with Sally Mae before it switched over to what we now know is Navient. That's why I said just cut the check. That will fix things. It'll fix a lot. This is the tip of the, this is actually small compared to the major things that it would fix for us. But yeah, the U.S. definitely has the money in order to, if they wanted to, they could pay off this debt. But see, the thing is, they're so much in debt themselves that to pay off everyone's debt means they will go further into debt. So they need people in debt to pay off their debt, if that makes sense. They need you broke, busted, and disgusted in order for them to look nice and, shine. But let me move on to the next story. This story right here is sad, but it's funny. It's sad, but it's funny at the same time. So, in case y'all didn't hear, you have this woman right here who put her baby up for adoption after she found out the sperm donor lied about his ethnicity. And this happens more commonly than people think. Like some women will go to a sperm bank and they'll say what type of man or what type of sperm do they want, and does he have to, they really break it down, but then of course race is definitely a factor. Well, this woman asked for a particular race of man and got something completely different. And when she found out that it wasn't the race that she wanted, she put the child up for adoption. Now, this woman is Asian. This is a Japanese woman, and she was asking, I think, for a Japanese man, and they gave her a Chinese man. So when people say that Asian people stick together and all types of stuff like that, look at this story right here. And this is a small fry of a story compared to major ones that we could talk about. So it reads, a sperm donor's betrayal has led to one mother's shame and an orphan child. A Japanese woman is suing the biological father of her second child for 330 million yen, which is $2.86 million in US money, after learning that he lied about his identity. The Tokyo resident, who was in her 30s, thought she'd found a successful Japanese man with a Kyoto University education and had sex with him 10 times in an effort to get pregnant. The woman had previously had one child with her current husband, but decided to conceive with a donor when she learned her husband carried a hereditary disorder that could be passed to his offspring. She sought the help of social media to help find the perfect candidate. The effort paid off in July 2019, but soon after getting pregnant by the donor, the woman, who remains unidentified in local reports, learned that the biological father of her unborn child is in fact a married Chinese man who did not attend the prestigious research university. The woman decided to put her baby up for adoption as it was already too late to abort the pregnancy. She's now suing for fraud, citing emotional distress caused by his lies. Japan's sperm donation industry is largely unregulated, according to Vice News investigation. Commercial artificial insemination is scarce and is limited only to heterosexual married couples. The situation has led many parents to take their efforts online and into their own hands. In Japan, there is no public system or legal system for sperm donation. The woman's lawyer said during a press conference Tuesday, his client has relayed that the ordeal has caused her physical and emotional distress, due in part to the backlash prompted by her decision to give up the child. But Ms. Zuhu Sasaki, a child welfare worker in Japan, called the woman shallow in a statement to Vice for treating the child like an object. Sasaki added, but I think it's better to leave the kid with someone who can be a good foster parent. Janessa said, where did I find this? On Twitter. Like I said, a lot of the stories that you see me talking about come off of that app. And I'd be finding some crazy stories, or people be sending me stuff. But yeah, this one was sent to me on Twitter. Yeah, yes, DJ, she had sex with the dude 10 times in the hopes to get pregnant, and it didn't work. So that's why she went to the sperm bank. in hopes to get the same type of man she was having sex with, but then found out that the person that she got the sperm from was actually a Chinese man. He wasn't an educated Japanese man who went to this prestigious university. And like the person said at the end, that is extremely shallow. You gave your child for adoption. But that just shows you right there, they may all live on the Asian continent, but their cultures are completely different. Well, Smoked, I don't know what her orientation is. They don't specify it in this article. But all we know is that she wanted a Japanese man and she got a Chinese one, and a Chinese man that happened to be married. That's what kind of got me too, that this guy's married. Because usually when I think of people who donate sperm like that, I think that I would like to believe that most of them are single who do that. But you know, they get paid for it, so maybe he's doing this as a hustle. No, the story that you're talking about, I did hear about that. Yeah, they are very particular over there in China, very particular. Darvizu said she couldn't tell what he was by look. No, no. Like I said, she went to the sperm bank. Of course, there's no face attached to the sperm, but it's just and it does. I don't know if the sperm has a name on it. It just has a number. Like it said, it may say subject whatever. So yeah. But like people, like y'all are saying in the chat, they this just shows that they have animosity towards each other, and as you can see right here. But let me go ahead and move on to the next story. We're moving right along too. We might be done with this stream within an hour, which is not a problem by me. Now, I wanted to talk about this story right here. If y'all remember, I did a video talking about Brian Flores earlier in the week, who was now the former head coach for the Miami Dolphins, and how he got fired from being the head coach of that team. But there was another coach that got fired shortly after him, who was the head coach for the Houston Texans, and his name was David Culley. And I want y'all to listen to this clip right here. It says Houston Texans set up coach David Culley to fail, and then they fired him. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this right quick.
Look, from the initial beginning of David Culley tenure, he was the scapegoat. All right, the man had to sit up there and talk in interviews about what's the situation with Deshaun Watson. He had no damn idea, and they kept putting him out there on the podium to talk about it and talk about it. Y'all know I brought this up when it was initially happening. So this is what it looks like, America, when a franchise is in disarray. And they have to make a hire. They have to do a lot of other things, but they have to do like the Houston Texans got to do a lot of soul searching about who they are, what they want to be, and how they want the future to look like, and how they can begin to change the narrative of what Houston Texans fans believe about this franchise and organization. So moving forward, every step they make will be critical to everybody's reputation and everybody's decision making from this point going forward. David Culley got to live his dream, but he was a scapegoat from day one he was hired in Houston.
Okay. So there it is right there. So you heard this guy speaking, and he basically said that David Culley was the scapegoat. They basically hired him to coach a team that they knew was not going to get far. They hired him, and they knew this team was not going to succeed. They did not set him up with a winning team. Unlike with Brian Flores, who was bringing the Dolphins out from under. Now he's out, and watch, they're going to bring a white coach in to be set up with a winning team. And let me correct myself, because when I did the video talking about Brian Flores, I used Steve Kerr as an example when it came to the Golden State Warriors, and I had mentioned Doc Rivers. People corrected me and said it was Mark Jackson. I'm correcting myself right now. Mark Jackson was the former coach of the Warriors, and he was pushed out, and they brought Steve Kerr in, and that's how Steve Kerr basically got a winning team, a team that was already bound to win, but they didn't want a black head coach to take that I guess you can say success. Spidey said, is that Disney-owned station ESPN that you're on? Yes, it is. Sunlight said the players can't protest. I don't know what the players can do, because they said that the Texans was 4-13 this season. They only won 4 games this entire season. And like I said, it most likely wasn't even from him being a bad coach. It's just that they set him up to fail. They knew that this was not a winning team. So I'm gonna look at this article right quick. It says, not once in the news conference did Cal McNair, who is the CEO of the team, or general manager Nick Caserio, speak about building around Culley or his ability to lead the team into the future. They left him high and dry. They literally set him up to fail. They set this black coach up to fail. This is less than a year after the news conference. The Texans are once again looking for a head coach. It's clear they never intended for Culley to be the long-term solution. Yeah, they had this thing pre-planned. They had this planned out. And of course, it was a black coach. It says that's before mentioning the team is firing a black head coach in a league that had just 3 last season and now only 1, who is Mike Tomlin. We all know about Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers coach, who is they're out of the playoffs as of last Sunday. This is after the Miami Dolphins fired Brian Flores earlier this week. Culley was the only black head coach hired in 2021, and his firing brings to mind what happened to Steve Wilks in Arizona. The Cardinals fired Wilks in 2019 after 3-13 season. So they basically bring in these coaches, these black coaches, and set them up on bad teams. They get a bad record, which most likely isn't even their fault, and then they fire them and then try to blame them for being a bad coach when they really aren't a bad coach. Do y'all see this? Do y'all see the cycle of effery with that? And like people have said, black coaches, they're not given enough time to really develop a team or grow and develop with the team. It's a one and done type of deal. RG Titan said Mike Tomlin got lucky getting that Steelers gig. I've said in the previous video about Brian Flores, I said Mike Tomlin is basically their token, but I said I would not be surprised if Mike Tomlin knew some stuff about the NFL or some of the people associated with it, which is why they're keeping him along. I say he might know some stuff that, Mike, if you're out there listening, if there's a tell-all book in the future that you want to say that you can't say right now because you're still currently the coach for the Steelers, I'll buy it because I'm curious. I always like to read. I don't know about y'all, but I like to see or read tell-all books just to see what they're going to talk about, what they're going to say. And if Mike Tomlin wrote a tell-all book about his time being the coach for the Steelers, the stuff that he would say, but he would have to wait until he's retired in order to do that. That way he doesn't jeopardize anything while he's still connected to the NFL. But if he does decide to do a tell-all book, I would purchase it because I'm just curious. And like I said in my previous video, when it comes to the NFL, they don't let the black guy get past a certain point. GM seems to be the highest they'll go. They don't go higher than GM because remember the GM for Miami, Chris Greer, is a black man, and he was the one that had the pleasure or the displeasure of firing Brian Flores. but I've never seen a black NFL owner. Never heard of one. JB Easy says they want to fire Mike, but he's a winning coach, so they really can't. Yeah. See, the thing is, they probably tried to pull the okey doke on Mike Tomlin the same way they did with David Culley and Brian Flores and the other black coaches and try to set them up with bad teams. But Mike Tomlin pulled the switcheroo on them and ended up turning the teams around in a timely fashion, and they couldn't get rid of them. But I said if they ever made a biopic about Mike Tomlin, they need to get Mike Epps. He's the only person I would accept to play Mike Tomlin. If they ever did a biopic about his life and him being the coach of the Steelers, he's the only person I can see playing him, because Omar Epps and Mike Tomlin look like brothers. At this point, Mike Tomlin is going to retire with the Steelers. Like, he's so far into his career, it would be stupid to fire him. So, yeah. But they just keep him around because of quote unquote diversity. Let me tell you something. This is PC's definition of diversity. One black individual. That's their definition of diversity. Crazy. Let me move on to the next story. We got two more stories. And notice how I ordered these stories. I did them from lighthearted to more heavy hitting. So this is our first of two heavy hitting topics that we're going to discuss today. And it's about this woman named Joyce Watkins. And shout out to Lisa Cabrera, because she's one of the only people that I saw actually do a video where she did a live stream talking about this woman. Now, we all know when it comes to black people and with rape cases and everything like that, false violation cases always, for some reason, gets black people hemmed up. That or false murder cases gets black people hemmed up. And this one right here is no different. But what makes this different compared to the others is that this is a woman. Usually it's a black man, but this time it is a black woman. So that right there kind of caught me by surprise. But she's black. So in America, we are all under the umbrella labeled one big nigga. So it doesn't matter. But it says Tennessee woman wrongfully convicted in rape and murder case has been exonerated. And this is coming out of Nashville, Tennessee. A Tennessee woman wrongfully convicted in a 1988 rape and murder case has been exonerated. Joyce Watkins and her then boyfriend, Charlie Dunn. Now look at this. While this is focused mainly on her, they have her former boyfriend, this is her then boyfriend, Charlie Dunn, who was a black man. So they did have a black man somehow shoehorned in there. Were sentenced to life in prison. The couple picked up Watkins' grannies back in 1988 and noticed the child was unresponsive. Once at the hospital, blood on the child was observed. Investigators determined the child had been both physically and sexually abused. Watkins and Dunn have always maintained their innocence, and Watkins has been on parole since 2015. District Attorney Ken Whitehouse says the records of both Watkins and Dunn have been cleared, their convictions vacated, and both have been removed from the sex offender registry. DA Whitehouse adds the case was convicted based on faulty evidence by medical examiners at the time. Dunn died behind bars in 2015. The executor of his estate petitioned the state of Tennessee to reopen the case. That's messed up. So her then boyfriend died behind bars. So that means he never really truly got to experience the exoneration the way she is. And I think they said this woman is 74. I think they said that she's 74, which means she was in her 40s back when this happened, like her late 40s when this happened. That's crazy. But this just shows you right here, in America, anybody can get it. If you are black, anybody can get it. It does not discriminate at all. At all. Leader said the family of the black dude should be able to sue. I'm sure they are. They said they're going to reopen the case. At this point, that's all they really can do, or at the least that they should do. That's crazy. And just imagine having to live with that sex offender charge on your record for all this time for something you didn't even do. Amara, what's up, Torian? It's my birthday tomorrow. Well, happy early birthday. Black Voltron says, so the state of Tennessee falsely murdered the black man. Basically, he died, like they said, he died behind bars. And keep in mind, they were in jail since like the 80s. But this is a story that many of us black people deal with in America. It's rare you will ever find a story of a non-black person going through something like this with false convictions and incarcerations. But like I said, the thing that got me was the fact that this time a focal point was a woman, because usually it's just the man. But now I'm going to move on to the last story of the day. And this one is actually an update to the Damari Perry story that I did on my channel. And this story right here just pisses me off to the highest heavens. So in case y'all did not know or see, this is Damari Perry, the womb carrier of Damari Perry and her other two children who ain't shit, just like she ain't shit. Now, this is the most recent update. This was an article that was posted yesterday, where it says the judge grants request from Damari Perry's attorney for a new judge in murder case of a 6-year-old North Chicago boy. Before I even read the article a little bit, I said, I wonder if she's doing this so she could see if she can get some kind of leniency. Because remember when I was talking in the video talking about this story, I said when she was talking, she did not appear to sound frantic. She didn't sound scared. She didn't sound upset about what had clearly happened to her son, her 8-year-old son. Now, this woman is 38. She is 38 years of age. She has a 20-year-old, a 16-year-old, and an 8-year-old. That means she started having children when she was 18. Because if you do the math, she was 18 when she had her first child, which was the son, the older brother, who was responsible for killing his brother. Then she had a 16-year-old, because she was talking about the 16-year-old daughter in the video, which means she had hit her 4 years later when she was 22. Then she pumped her brakes and had Damari when she was 30. Or at least 31. So she started having children early on. She was a teen mom. Now, one thing that I heard about when it came to Damari Perry is they said when they found him, they said his organs, what's going on, Jordan? They said his organs were frozen. Let me repeat that. They said his organs were frozen. So he was in extremely cold conditions. Arctic conditions is probably the better term to use. So he practically froze to death. So I'm sensing probably some hypothermia there. But like I said in my original commentary, and I'm going to stand on it, her, the brother, and the sister All three of them are a trinity of ain't shit individuals. This little boy did not deserve what happened to him. And I said, this is so messed up because these were not strangers that did this. This was his own family. The woman who gave birth to him and his siblings did this to him. 8 years old. Now, they have never put up a picture of the sister. They still put up the picture. They put the picture up of the mother and the son. I'm guessing they don't put her picture up because she's still technically a minor. She's 16, but that's besides the point. Put her ass up on the Summer Jam screen because she's involved. Like I've told people before, I hate when I have to do stories involving children, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Because it's like, how can an innocent child, what could an innocent child do to you to make you do something like this to them? And then when you look back at the story that she had gave, it makes it even more worse. I hope that whatever judge or new judge that she gets is just as stern on her as the one that they moved away from. And I wouldn't be surprised if the boy was being abused before they killed him. And when I say before, I'm not talking about the day he was killed. I'm talking about days, weeks, months, maybe even years before this. I wouldn't be surprised if he was in an abusive environment prior to this happening. I wouldn't be surprised in the least bit. But we'll still continue to follow this story as we go along. But that's pretty much going to be the end of the show. Like I said, we didn't go over an hour. We were within an hour like I predicted. But I do appreciate everybody coming through. Shout out to everybody who is new. If you're new, subscribe. Make sure y'all hit that like button, share, have the bell turned on. And for those of you who are just now joining us, I'm going to go ahead and reiterate the announcements that I made earlier. The first one is starting tomorrow. I'm going to go back to uploading videos on Saturdays. I know I took a break from doing it for like a good month just to see what it was, but I said I have so many commentaries that I have to talk about. I have to squeeze those in there, and to take a day off is going to set me back. So maybe I'll go back to it in the future once I feel like I'm all caught up. But for now, I'm going to just go back to this format, which I'm sure many of you are going to love. The next announcement is going forward, after I get these crop of videos out that I have right now, the main videos that are going to be on my channel are going to be like the heavy hitting, trending topic style videos. And I'm going to save the more smaller stories for the live streams. So like I said, the two topics that I talked about here on this channel today, which was the Letitia Wright and the Aquafina one, those would be trending type of videos. Those will go up on the main channel. And like the other stories that I talked about on this one would be smaller stories that I'll save for the live stream. And hopefully y'all caught that. I'll post it up in the community tab because I know everybody's not over here, so people can see it over there. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Y'all go ahead and enjoy on the rest of your evening, because I know what for me it's dark over here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the your weekend, and I will talk to you all in the next one.